Molweni Quintessentials, welcome back to the Kazimla PR Academy. Today we continue our series on succession planning. In the previous video, I explained the importance of strategic timelines and having an exit date in mind when you are building your succession plan, because now we are making that psychological shift from operational manager or technician in the business to being the architect of the business. So you are the actual leader, and you need to make those two distinctions when you are running your business, right? So first things first, when you are thinking about your succession planning, you've now done the strategic timeline, you have a targeted exit date, you've communicated this targeted exit date to yourself and to your organization. There is a transitional phase that you've put in place. So you're not just going to wake up one day and hand over the business to somebody. You're going to give yourself time to assess your successor. So that could take anywhere between 3 to 5 years. Because at this point, you are assessing the character, you are assessing the profile of your successor, you are assessing the skills gaps. What do they need? What further training can you provide them so that they succeed in this role? What sort of mentorship can you provide? And is there somebody, the successor, is it somebody from inside? Is it somebody from outside? Are you going to outsource the role? And you've done your performance appraisal. And now you are here, you're moving from lifestyle, which is all about performance, and you are transitioning yourself and your organization psychologically. You have divorced yourself from the business and you have a renewed mindset about your role as the founder, as the architect. You are thinking about efficiency, scale, and growth. So first things first is now you've decoupled yourself from your business, from the operations. You are thinking strategically. You are no longer the technician. You provide guidance. So this means that you are doing less work. You have put systems in place and have trained your successor and even the juniors on how the system of the business now works. This means that all the information is no longer living in your head. You have put systems in place to continue the work so that the work can continue without you. So now that you're not a technician, i.e. for me as a PR specialist, I would put systems in place in terms of sharing knowledge about how to, number one, write a PR strategy, creating that template of a PR strategy, of a PR plan, of an implementation plan. This is step one of writing a PR strategy. This is step two. These are the things you need to consider: the objectives, the communication objectives, the target audience, the key messages, the media, internal, external, the social media strategy that you're going to incorporate, the stakeholder engagement strategy that you're going to incorporate in the communications, integrated marketing communication strategy. So there is a system in place that provides and guides your team from step one to step two on what needs to be done to accomplish a specific task. If a task is writing a press release, these are the first steps. When you are writing a press release, this is the structure that it takes. We all know the who, what, where, how. You have to answer those questions. And where do you get this information? And you need to put quotes and boilerplates and the infographics and the logos, and how are the logos aligned for each of the clients? What is the CI template? These must all be stored and available in a shared drive in your business for everybody to have access to. And it will really make life easier for you and your team because it makes things that much less complicated. That means that you're no longer needed to put out fires, because for the majority of the time, if people follow the system, they are going to hit all the right notes. And it will also act as a quality control mechanism that operates when you are not in the business. So while you're building this system, you also need to have a leadership tier. So who is the managing director now that you have stepped aside as the founder? who is the client service director, who is a senior account manager, who is the account manager, who's the account executive, who's the intern, who's the office manager, the driver, and so forth. And everybody must understand what their roles are, clearly demarcated in the service level agreement, in a contract, and nobody is veering off, and nobody is guessing, and nobody is unclear about what role they are playing in the business. The goal here is that you have a second in command that is running your business. So whether that's a COO or a managing director and you are the group CEO, your managing director is running the daily operations of the business, and you meet with the managing director maybe once or twice a month to get a handle on what's going on. You meet with the shareholders every quarter. You're not sitting in every status meeting with the client because you have now shifted yourself out of the operations of the business. If there is a crisis, of course, where you are required, then you will show up. And where there's real fires that need to be put out, you are there to provide the support and the leadership. But the team must be trained and they must be able to put out fires. There must be a crisis control protocol within the business so that people can also think critically and be able to solve problems when you're not there. Because what will happen in a situation when you're incapacitated and you can't make those decisions? They need to think and need to act quickly and solve and become problem solvers. You want to lead leaders. You want a team that is able to solve problems without having to call you for every little thing, freeing you up to think about the bigger picture, the bigger vision, where you are leading the team to greater and higher heights. And when you are driving this performance-based business with a strong succession plan, put KPIs in place to encourage your team to also buy into the vision, because without them, the vision cannot come to life. The vision can only come to life when they have bought into it, and they are the ones that need to implement the very vision that you have forecasted. So communicate the vision to them, but there has to be incentives, whether it's monetary. Maybe you can tie bonuses to specific tasks. Maybe you can provide incentive for leave days, vacation days, period days, off days, that type of thing. Incentivize the team, help them, help you, make them want to be a part of this business. If your business has shares and stocks, then they need to have first preference of that and be able to receive the dividends. There's many ways, and it's always good to have those conversations with your team to get a feel of what do they actually want. Maybe they want to work less in the office and they want to work remotely. Maybe they want to have that freedom of working continentally and not being in the office. But how do you manage, those systems and incentivize them to travel and work, work-life balance, so that it's beneficial not just for you who's growing your business, but it's beneficial to the team because they have a stake, a tangible stake in the business. And then identify what are the value drivers in the business, what makes the business viable. Having a loyal customer base, building that community, having those networks, your supplier networks, your client-based networks, your product, the networks of your service providers, what makes the business viable. Those assets will be the determining factor about what makes your business viable. And then you need to consider the financial and legal framework of your succession plan, so the contracts that are in place. So you need buy and sell agreements, you need shareholder agreements, who owns what and at what percentage. Those need to be clearly understood. Use legal counsel when you are setting up your buy-sell agreements. What is the funding strategy? What is the tax situation? Is the successor expected to pay loans that you have taken out prior? What is the agreement? What has been outlined in the contract? And then of course you need the standard operating procedures. I've literally just mentioned them in the intro. You need to have templates in place of how everything works, so that everybody is on the same page. So you have your templates, use the online systems that are available, Notion, Mondays, Asana, in order to manage the system and the workflow in the business so that the governance structure is clearly defined. And then I'll leave it at the communication plan. So you need to communicate, of course, the succession plan internally. You've discussed it with yourself, with your family. Then you need to discuss it with the organization. Then you need to explain it to your customer base, your target audience, keep them in the loop, and let it be a rolling out communication strategy. So this is what we're planning. This is the new person. This is the new successor. And this is the role that they're going to fill. They're not taking over immediately. We are rolling them out in such and such a way. So make sure that the communication is clear, but it doesn't have to be in detailed, but it can be consistent. It doesn't have to be a once-off event. Keep your people in the loop so that they are also clear about who's doing what, because of course you have spent all this time building your brand as a founder. People have come to know and love you, and you have nurtured, that relationship with your client base, and you want that succession process and that handover process to be seamless, and you don't want to leave your successor, with his or her pants down. So rope him or her in and let your audience, your target audience, know what's what, so that they can get used to the idea and they can start building the trust with the new successor. And you can then start really backing away also from being public facing figure in the brand. So in conclusion, you need to set the matrix in the beginning, decouple yourself from operations. You need to standardize the operating procedures in the business. You need to have a clearly demarcated leadership tier. Everybody knows what is expected of them. I hope this has helped you further unpack your succession planning from a strategic perspective. And it's really about you divorcing yourself and your identity from your business. Your business is not going to shrivel up and disappear simply because you are not there. It's actually going to grow once you let it go and flourish. So I hope this has helped you, Quintessentials.